AITA for refusing to attend my sister's child-free wedding after she asked me not to bring my baby. My sister is having a child-free wedding, and I asked if we could bring our 3-month-old baby since I'm breastfeeding and uncomfortable leaving the baby with a stranger for the day. She refused, saying no exceptions, and got upset when I said we might skip the wedding. She thinks I'm putting my baby over her big day. My F34 sister, F29, is getting married in 3 months. She's having a child-free wedding, which I totally respect. My husband, M35, and I have a 3-month-old baby. When my sister first told us about the child-free situation, I assumed there would be some flexibility for immediate family, especially newborns who can't be left alone. I talked to my sister and asked if we could bring our baby to the ceremony, explaining I am breastfeeding and we don't feel comfortable leaving our baby with someone for an entire day. We have to fly into the town where she is getting married, and we don't know anyone there, so we would have to leave the baby with a stranger there, or leave the baby back home with someone we know for a long period of time. I am quite anxious about being away from our newborn for too long, which my sister knows. To my surprise, my sister was adamant that no children, including our baby, would be allowed at the wedding. She said it wouldn't be fair to make an exception for us when other guests are also not allowed to bring their kids. I asked if we could at least bring the baby for the ceremony and leave afterward, but she said no, explaining she wants a strict no-kids atmosphere the entire day. I told her that if our baby couldn't come, we'd likely skip the wedding because it's too hard to leave our newborn for such a long stretch of time. We thought about the idea of just having my husband attend, but that also seemed a bit strange too. I also don't want to just leave the baby with my husband and go by myself. My sister got very upset with me, saying it was her special day, and she felt like I was putting our baby above her wedding. She even hinted that I should figure out how to detach from the baby for just a few days, and that we should understand how important this event is for her. Maybe I am being unreasonable for not willing to leave my baby behind, but I just feel like I should be there for my baby at all times. Plus, I know how anxious I am going to feel that entire day. My sister's argument is that it's her wedding and her rules, and while I respect that, I also think she should be more understanding of our situation. Am I really the asshole for refusing to attend her wedding if I can't bring my baby? Relevant comments. Commenter: another day, another AITA for not going to a child-free wedding, or variations thereof. After 5 million of these stories, it's still difficult to understand why those holding child-free weddings get upset when people with children won't come to your precious wedding. It's equally difficult to understand why those with children keep wanting exceptions for their rugrats. Not the AH for not going, not the AH for wanting a child-free wedding. There, I hope that clears it up for future posters. Also, as a side note, no one has a bullet to your head about funding a wedding you don't want to attend. Don't fund it and don't attend it. Commenter: the only time anyone is an AH is when they make demands and or throw a fit. Kinda like the sister. NTA. Commenter: I was at NAH. I mean, she doesn't want kids at her wedding. I get it. I've been to more than one where a squalling baby just interrupts the ceremony or speeches, etc. Some of the parents are awesome and rush the kid out of the room to calm it down. Other parents just cluelessly give a "what can you do?" and seem oblivious that they are interfering with things going on. Completely get it. That said, when I got to this part, she feels like I'm putting our baby above her wedding. She even hinted that I should figure out how to detach from the baby for just a few days, and that we should understand how important this event is for her. Whoa there, Nelly. Holy crap. Your sister is a piece of work for this statement. So NTA, I suspect she may regret such statements once the wedding is over or upon reflection. At least I hope she does. Utter bullshit things to say. Further, your kiddo will be around 6 months old at that point. This is not to say that the previous months suck and aren't wonderful, etc. But around that 6 months mark, shit is getting awesome. Babies are laughing. They actually know you. The toy thing is kicking into gear and playing, and they baby talk at you. You're doing the hold hands dance thing and they dig it. They're super fun. Sure, the poop starts getting serious, but, you know, good with the bad. In the unsolicited advice section, I would have said perhaps this is where, since this is your sister, if you're good with flying with the kiddo, you do so. Then hubby just has the baby for a few hours while you do the wedding, and then you leave. However, would completely understand skipping this given sis's attitude. Story 2. My boyfriend is friends with my rapist. I just don't know what to do with this. R raped me when we were teenagers. We're now in our early 20s. My boyfriend and I had been floating around in the same circle, but never actually interacted until a few months ago, when we realized we actually really clicked. BF didn't know, and only became friends with him due to being in the same hobby scene a couple of years ago. I broke down and told him a month ago. I don't know what I expected him to do. I don't know what I wanted him to do at the time, but he's still friends with him, and even hung out with him and a few other people just last night. It all just makes me feel grief, like he cares more about his friendship with a rapist than he does me. He's completely comfortable being around someone who could do that, even to his own girlfriend who he claims to be deeply in love with, who he's watched break down over it. I was even kicked out of the church because I confided in my youth pastor, who was amazing with with everything, but one of the church elders was R's grandfather. He didn't take too well to it. Clearly, R could never have done that because he's a good Christian boy. I must just be some whore who's lying. I lost my entire community, all I'd known for years due to something that happened to me. I sat in his lap and sobbed uncontrollably into his chest over all of this. Apart from this, BF is everything I could ask for. He's so kind, caring, and gentle with me. He understands that I have trauma, most unrelated to R, and that I can be hard work sometimes. He is so patient with me, so thoughtful, gets me little gifts, and is so excited to celebrate our little month-by-month anniversaries. He's all I could have ever asked for, but if he slips up and mentions R, I don't know. It's like I'm not looking at my sweet, gentle man anymore. I don't feel that warmth I usually do with him. In those moments, it's like I'm looking at a creep. What will he do if we have a daughter and someone he likes does something to her? What would he do if one of his friends did something to me now? I don't know what to do. I'm terrified of asking him to choose between me and him. Even though he would choose me, he'd still see him a lot since they run in the same circle. I feel so lost in how to deal with this. Relevant comments. Commenter: no, absolutely not. Your BF's behavior is inexcusable. Hanging out and still associating with your rapist? Number: that is a massive red flag for your own personal safety and security. If I was him, I would want to beat the ever-living daylight out of your rapist, even if we were childhood friends. That is disgusting that he even still associates with your assaulter. You need to, for your own mental well-being, to draw that line in the concrete. And if he says you are overreacting, show him this comment, because he's an asshole. Commenter: rapists continue to get away because good men have their backs. Your boyfriend is one of those good men, and if he's got the back of a rapist, then you need to really qualify if that descriptor truly matters. Commenter: I'm deeply, deeply sorry you have endured so much. You are such a strong individual. I believe it's time to take control and speak to your boyfriend. The fact he sees what this man has done to you and can still be friends with him is obscenely disgusting and disturbing. I believe you can tell who someone is by the quality and integrity of their friends, the people they choose to have in their lives. You deserve a man that gives you the bare minimum of not being friends with your rapist. You are not asking too much of him to choose. Story 3. New update. AIO. I think my friend has eyes for my wife. This is the first post. If you have already read it, you can skip to the update part. I have a wife that I've been with for over 10 years and married for 3. We have a 10-month-old son now. I recently met a guy who turned out to have a lot of common interests with me, both into finance, fitness, and stuff. We started hanging out more and more and working out together weekly in my home gym garage. Obviously, we are spending time together and we shoot the shit often. His situation is that he's single, a father of a 7-year-old girl, and his ex is a super bitch to him. She publicly talked down to him the few times we all went out to dinner together. He still has to see her because they are co-parenting, but he's been trying to date for the past year. Anyway, we got on the topic of what he's looking for in a girl because he keeps on going on dates, and they all suck according to him, and none of the girls are his type. So I ask what his type is, and he starts describing the traits of my wife. Could be a coincidence. Whenever we go to dinner, he'll be telling a story or whatever, and show a picture on his phone, but only to my wife. I have to ask him to see what the picture is before he puts it away. Not that I care that much, but feels sus. Whatever. We've been hanging out more and having game night at my place with him and a few other friends. Whenever he's in the presence of my wife, he takes my son and puts him on his shoulders and plays with him in front of her. Makes weird comments, at least I think so, in front of my wife like, I love being a father and providing for a family. I wish I had a wife that was as good as raising kids as you. Let me know if I can help you in any way with your son. Always directed to my wife and never me. Okay, whatever. The thing is, these comments have been setting off eye raises for me, so when I was working out with him the other day, I said, do you think my wife is attractive? He said, oh hell yeah, dude. Your wife is hot. I said thanks, but it raised my antenna even more. Now the reason I'm writing this is because his most recent comment to me was, do you think your wife can find a girl for me at her workout class that looks like her? This coupled with what happened the other day at dinner. We were going to dinner with him and his family that were in town. It was at a big shopping center, so we were waiting at a Starbucks for them to arrive at the restaurant. He comes to the Starbucks where we are while his family is at the restaurant. He waves and says we are ready. I start packing my son's bag while my wife handles the stroller. This dude grabs my son and puts him on his shoulders and starts walking out. My wife is walking out and I'm grabbing the bag. Now I'm literally watching this guy walk next to my wife holding my child while she's pushing the stroller and I'm trailing them. I felt I was watching a couple and their child and I was seething and feeling displaced. IO? Because I'm cutting this asshole off. Not letting him anywhere near my wife and kid again. If we happen to see him in a social setting of 6 or less, we are leaving. Edit. Asked my wife if he ever texted her or contacted her in any way on SM or TXT. She said no. I told her just now I feel he's peacocking and she said she doesn't get that vibe at all from him. Edit. A female friend came over tonight who mutually knows this guy. She agreed that it was strange and thought he was crushing on my wife, intentionally or not, and told my wife to her face that. I told my wife that if another female could see it, it's obvious. My wife now says she feels embarrassed that she doesn't see it and says it'll be awkward now because she doesn't want to think of him looking at her that way. Both she and the friend think it's best if we only see him in social settings with large groups and not at our house again. Lesson: seems the general consensus is to trust my gut if I feel something is off, and it does. Going to talk to the wife and then tell this dude straight and then ghost him. Update. Friends have eyes for my wife. Here's the update. After all the advice, thank you all, I decided to go the slow cutoff method rather than being direct. Mainly because my thinking is that if you tell someone that you're wise to their BS, they may just try to be more covert, cover their tracks, and be sneakier with their behavior, or try to buy sympathy with mutual friends. There was a party we were invited to at his house before all this unfolded, and I told my wife we weren't going. This caused a bit of tension within our house because it got pretty heated because, while she thinks he's doing it subconsciously, she has zero interest in him, so it doesn't bother, and she said she didn't even notice until I brought it to her attention. Needless to say, the fact that it caused an argument and drama for me was more than enough grounds for me to never have this dude around my wife and kid ever again. Anyway, because he had already introduced me to all of my friends in my friend group, he invited all of them to this party. We didn't go, and a few friends asked if we were going. I explained the situation, and a few of them agreed that they saw what I saw. They said they were not going to the party. One couple did decide to go because they and him became close over the fact that they both really are into sports. The girl texted my wife and told her that they were the only couple that showed up. So really my friends are the only ones he invited. But she also said he had a girl there with him. They said the girl barely spoke English, but he said they were dating, but she was acting very odd. Now this is the part where I'm not sure if he was made aware of my discontent with him, because I had already started cutting him off, not answering calls, not initiating any texts, being very curt with my responses, cool bro, etc. After this party, he randomly texts me photos of him with this girl professing how hot she is and what a great catch she is and how they are dating. One phrase he used which further raised my suspicions was, "It'll be good to go on a double date so you can see I have a girl." I'm thinking to myself, why would he care about that, and what an odd thing to say. I asked how they met and he said Tinder. I asked to see the convo. He deleted the convo. He sent her Instagram photos and she has 37,000 followers and half her photos are of her in Dubai, London, etc. and doing lewd photo shoots. Considering he is a strip club kind of guy, this makes me think he may be paying for this companionship just to get his foot back in the door, but I could be wrong, so all is right. I'm plenty busy with work, and wife and I are fine. Son is happy as can be, and I'm going to make sure I keep the grass cut so I can see the snakes before they get to my door. Thanks everyone for the reassurances. Story 4. My brother got cheated on by his wife and still took her back. For the past 1 week, my brother, M33, has had a hard time with dealing with his wife, F28, cheating on him with some random dude. My brother married his wife 6 years ago, and apparently it was one of the best weddings I, F36, have ever seen. They have had a good lifestyle, and they have 2 kids already. Very beautiful little kids. My brother came to me first when he was heartbroken by discovering that her wife had cheated on her. The fact is that he did not know how many times she did that. I was so pissed off when I heard that because I care about my brother a lot. After he told me about that, as his elder sister, the first thing I told him is not to take her back since it could be something she has done before. He welcomed the idea at first, and I told him I will give him all the help I could for him to get all over it. He stayed at my place for 4 nights, and I could tell that he is thinking a lot. After spending time to cool off, he went back to his house after discussing what we could do about it. After that, he went silent and did not get back to me. So the following day, I called him to find out what was happening. I was surprised by what he told me and almost felt like I'm dreaming. He told me that he talked to his wife and they had an understanding that it was a mistake and it won't happen again. How his wife managed to convince him remains a mystery to me. I took time to follow him to work and told him that he might be making a mistake and his wife might be doing that more than he imagined. He just reacted like I was more of disturbing him and wasting his time. I'm just so surprised and I pity him so much. I'm afraid that it may be something that she does normally and may even bring diseases to him. I have told no one in my family about this, but only my husband knows. As a woman, it pains me to see my brother ending up in this kind of relationship. I hope he comes to his senses soon before anything worse happens. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest ones. Have a great day!